to stay undefeated in MAC play against Merrimack.
And it was rivalry weekend for the Quinnipiac men's basketball team. They hosted Sacred Heart at home and Fairfield on the road.
The women's ice hockey team takes a trip to upstate New York this weekend to take on St. Lawrence and Clarkson.
All that and so much more starting on Sports Paws right now. Officially February, which means the stakes for Quinnipiac winter sports are increasing every day. Welcome inside Studio 125 for this week's episode of Sports Paws. I'm Ben Rickevicius. Besides me is Matt Flaherty.
Well, this week had a lot of games, so let's get right into it. Starting with women's basketball, they took on Merrimack on Saturday. Quinnipiac coming in 12-0 in MAC play, coming off a huge win Thursday night against Fairfield. They look to stay undefeated. They play Merrimack, who also needs a win. Starting first quarter, what a move by Ella O'Donnell there. She starts things off. However, Merrimack responds to every bucket, keeping the first quarter close. There is Ella Ryan, add that to her bag. Nice move there. Next, sidestep three, Carson Martin hits it in. First bucket of many for her. Second quarter here. To start off the second, O'Donnell had a fantastic game. Look at that nice lay-in there, followed by Anna Foley, mid-ranger. That is money. Martin follows it up with a fadeaway jumper. She had a season high today with 21. There is Paige Girardi, who also had a season high, hitting the three there. As well as a second. The third was also all Bobcats. Started off O'Donnell saving that missed attempt. Finds Girardi on the wing, knocks that down. What a play there. O'Donnell was everywhere tonight as she gets another assist, this time to Sydney Ryan for three. And just as the third is winding down, Grisdale makes a nice move. Her shot's up, and it is good. Buzzer beater there. Fourth quarter. Final 10 was when Merrimack started to fight back, but despite that three-pointer, it was not enough. Quinnipiac wins 80-53. Season highs by Carson Martin, Paige Girardi, 21 for Martin, 13 for Girardi. Nice win for the Bobcats.
Big offensive showing for that Bobcats offense. Saturday's game was more than your typical MAC matchup. The women's basketball team held its annual Play for K game. Q30's Brittany Braun-Lieben has the story.
On Saturday, the women's basketball team had their Play for K game to help show support against breast cancer. Play for K is a national movement in sports to help bring communities together and honor cancer warriors, survivors, and thrivers in their fight. Over 1,000 high schools, colleges, and universities across the country have a Play for K game to help the battle.
I think for all of us, it's just an opportunity to showcase all of the amazing women who are fighting and battling. I think a lot of us have a lot of personal connections out there, so it's really awesome to honor all of those amazing women.
Almost everyone knows someone who's been affected by cancer, even former players on this women's basketball team.
Yeah, well, we've all been touched, and I've had a most recent aunt that was diagnosed that's going through it. We had a former player just finish out of her treatment successfully. So any awareness we can bring and drive resources to donate to help the cause, we'd love to be a part of that. So today was a great day to do that.
Other teams across the nation and the Bobcats will continue to help show their support and fight against cancer. Reporting for Q30 Sports, I'm Brittany Braun-Lieben.
Great stuff, Brittany. The women's basketball team has sat at the top of the MAC in the standings for the entire season, and it's not changing after 2 wins this week. For the first time this season, the Bobcats claim sole possession of first place. After losing to Quinnipiac on Thursday, Fairfield slides down to second place. The Sacred Heart Pioneers and Merrimack Warriors sit at 3 and 4 in the MAC, each having 4 conference losses. The Warriors and Pios will meet this weekend in North Andover. Iona is the last team with a winning record. They sit 2 games back out of the top spot, and Mount St. Mary's and Marist round out the top 6. They're both 6 and 7 overall this season. 7 games left in the regular season. Still a lot of time for a little shakeup. March is just 26 days away, and the women's basketball team is looking to make another run at a MAC championship.
And the question on everyone's mind is, can this team return to March Madness? Here are BU reporters Josh August and Brittany Braun-Lieben to compare this team to past championship teams.
Thanks, guys. Now, Brittany, this Bobcats team is 13-0 in MAC play for the first time since the 2018-19 season. How would you compare this year's team to last year's squad?
Yeah, last season's squad was definitely impressive, making it to the MAC tournament. But I think this team, we're going to see a better year for them overall as a whole. Already starting off better, 13-0 in conference play. But last year, a lot of the ball movement ran through Gal Revive. She was averaging just under 18 points per game. She scored 591 points in the entire year. Just below her was Anna Foley at 360, so that's a big scoring differential. We had players step up like Jackie Grisdale, Carson Martin, but we didn't really see this teamwork that we see this season where there's more people involved in the offense and defensive side.
Brittany, as you mentioned, injecting two of the Ryan sisters into the starting lineup is having a better impact than just one player. Now, yes, Gal Revive is a superstar level talent, but adding two double-digit scorers into this team that can also rebound, facilitate, and shoot the three ball at an exceptional clip is key for this team. Now, last year, the Bobcats had Carson Martin, who started 32 games. Now you're adding her to the bench, who she just had her two best games of the season, 21 points on Saturday and 19 points in the win versus Fairfield. Those are huge components to this year's squad.
Yeah, I have to agree, especially saying Ella and Sydney Ryan. Their first years here at Quinnipiac, and they're already making an instant impact where it seems like they've been playing for years, going off to the point of my saying that this team has so much better chemistry, where on the court and off the court, it looks like they're playing better together and more people are involved on the offensive side. Now, Josh, so far throughout the season, do you think this Quinnipiac Bobcats team can win the MAC tournament?
They just had their biggest game of the season against Fairfield, where they won 72-58 on the road. They have a huge game coming up on Valentine's Day versus Fairfield home. If they can sweep them, it can add all the confidence they need to win the MAC tournament and potentially go on that tournament run that we've seen Coach Fabry's squads go on before.
Yeah, Josh, I'm going to have to agree with you. Last Thursday's game against when Quinnipiac won at Fairfield, I think that was a huge impactor on how the season was going to go for the rest of the season with the Bobcats and Fairfield. As we saw, Fairfield losing kind of shook them up on Saturday against Sacred Heart, where Sacred Heart was winning at one point, but in the fourth quarter, Fairfield got it back together, only allowed Sacred Heart to score 3 points, which is kind of crazy to think about. But honestly, the game that is concerning me for the rest of the season is on Valentine's Day, Quinnipiac taking on Fairfield at home now. Yes, I think if they win, that would be huge for the MAC, but I also think if they lose, the Bobcats will still be okay in the MAC tournament.
Now, Brittany, last year the Bobcats played Fairfield at home, in which they won late in the season, maybe giving them, I don't want to say too much confidence, but they didn't come out ready to play in that championship game versus Fairfield. Now they have both the games earlier in the season. They already beat them once. I believe that this can be a key component as to why they're going to stay hungry. Beating a good team 2 times is hard. Beating a team 3 times is harder. But I think this Bobcats team, including all their depth, has shown that they can do so.
Yeah, I have to agree. Having both these big games in the middle of the season is going to make a huge impact going into the MAC tournament where they're going to want to win more. That's all we have here. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for the analysis, guys. 2 new recruits for Quinnipiac earned All-American nominations, starting with Maya Alston. She is from Oklahoma and so far this season is averaging over 10 points per game. Alston has helped her team to a 12-5 record, giving her team number 34 in the state.
In addition to Alston, Quinnipiac also landed Ava Thomas, a 5'9" combo guard who's a captain at Mary Lewis Academy. As a junior in high school, Thomas averaged over 10 points and 5 rebounds a game. She helped lead Mary Lewis to be ranked 25 in the state of New York. Thomas and Alston are set to join the Bobcats next season. The women's ice hockey team packed up its bags and shipped off to Potsdam and Canton to take on number 11 Clarkson and St. Lawrence. Q30's Christina Semenis has an update on a surprising weekend for the Bobcats.
Thanks, Ben. This past weekend, the number 5 women's ice hockey team headed up to the North Country to face off against St. Lawrence and number 11 Clarkson. When the Bobcats took on these teams earlier this season in Hamden, they beat the Saints 3-2 in overtime and tied the Golden Knights after a scoreless game, which went to a shootout. This Friday, however, the Bobcats fell to the Golden Knights by a score of 4-1 in Potsdam. Clarkson would score 3 times in the first period, and a power play goal by Laura Beecher would end the Bobcat streak of 27 consecutive successful penalty kills. In the second period, Emerson Jarvis scored for the Bobcats on a breakaway out of the penalty box, but the Golden Knights would score 1 more goal in the third to seal the victory. Then on Saturday, the Bobcats were also defeated by the unranked St. Lawrence Saints by a score of 3-1 in Camden. The Saints struck first in the opening frame on a power play goal. There was no action in the second until the Saints scored again in the third to make it 2-0. Zoe Ewan scored on the power play to cut the Saints' lead in half, but the Bobcats had no more luck as the Saints scored another goal on the empty net. The Bobcats have not beat the Saints at Appleton Arena since November of the 2015-2016 season. After this weekend, the Bobcats dropped from first in the ECAC hockey standings to fourth, and with 4 games left, each one is crucial. The Bobcats will go on the road again this weekend to face off against Harvard and Dartmouth. Then to close out their season, they'll face off against Brown and Yale at home. That's all the time I have here. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Christina. After the 2 losses this weekend, the Bobcats fell to 7th in the NPI rankings. Despite the drop, they still rank higher than any other ECAC team, with Princeton at 8, Yale placed at 9, and Clarkson at 12. In-state rivals UConn ranked just ahead of Quinnipiac at 6, just a quarter of a point separates the two. Not much change at the top. Wisconsin and Ohio State maintain its healthy leads at number 1 and 2 in the NPI.
Well, we need to take a water break here on desk, so we're going to take a quick media timeout.
But stay tuned for much more, including the men's basketball team taking on 2 in-state rivals with games against Sacred Heart and Fairfield. They both came down to the wire.
And men's ice hockey takes a trip up to North Country as they continue their conference play against St. Lawrence and Clarkson. Sports Paws will be right back.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing to keep us focused.
A habit we never skip, to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game? To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health. Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mental health. Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Do you enjoy debating Quinnipiac sports?
That's all flash, no catch. She didn't net it in the back of the net. That's not even a goal.
What are you doing pulling out Ryan?
Brady, that's like a crossover with a missed layup.
Bobcat Breakdown is the place for you, with debate, analysis, and so much more.
Mate Marinov. He is good, but oh man, is he bad. And
that team is amazing. How do you not put Fairfield women's volley?
Tune in to Bobcat Breakdown every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. on Q30TV.com/watch.
Can't believe you're doing this alone.
I've done it before.
I remember. You threw your back out. How you holding up?
Hand me that board.
Nothing wrong with getting help.
I'm good.
I did it when Felicia left.
I'll figure it out.
I know you will, but you don't have to do it alone. That's all I'm saying.
If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence?
Now you need my help.
It can be a real pain sometimes, you know that?
Mm-hmm.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. Glad you didn't leave us. Let's stay on the court. The Quinnipiac men's basketball team is coming off a tough loss on the road to Marist.
And then they welcome Sacred Heart to the bank on Friday night. Let's see if the squad can get back into the win column.
Second matchup of the season for these two teams. Quinnipiac taking round 1 in Fairfield, Connecticut just 3 weeks ago.
Starting off, a barrage of threes opened up by Deshaun Gittins, and then Jan Farrell followed suit with a 3 of his own. 15-13 Quinnipiac lead.
Looked like it was never going to end, but Amari Monroe wasn't going to let that happen. First, he hits this 3 from the corner off a pass from Keith McKnight. And then, a few possessions later, a fall-away 3 with a defender in his face. And at this point, you might as well just keep shooting the ball. He hits a third triple. It's 50-47 Quinnipiac at the half.
This back and forth continued with the first-year connection. Ty Turnage to Keith McKnight, who cut for an alley-oop, slams it home.
You got to check out this sequence for the Cats. Anquan Hill drives to the paint, gets denied by McKnight, and then Asim Jones turns it into a run and dishes it to Randall for an emphatic slam. He had 18 points and 16 rebounds, his 4th double-double of the season.
As it got late, there was no answer for Mackay Connor and his ability to find open shooters. Ralph Byer knocks this one down to tie to 86.
Just a minute later, Gittins ends it how we started it with a 3 to put the Pios on top. Sacred Heart takes this one 98-91. That's their 5th win in a row. And how about Mackay Connors? 17 points and 16 assists in the win. And the Bobcats trying to avoid 3 losses in a row. They took on Fairfield in Fairfield, Connecticut on Sunday. 4 minutes into this one, the Stags were comfortable in the half court. A little pick and roll action between Braden Sparks and Brandon Benjamin. That leads to a slam. Then Cam Estevez gets Jaden Zimmerman off his feet and cruises to the cup for two. It's 31-27 Fairfield. The Bobcats are a top 50 team in the nation in total dunks. Amari Monroe, he'll add to that total. And then on the defensive end, Isaac Mudkai slides in and blocks Randall in the paint. It's 43-31, Stags at the break. McKnight starts another break for the Bobcats this time with a block, and then gets it off to Grant Randall. We'll find Jaden Zimmerman for the slam, and then McKnight scoops it up through a few defenders here, and we're tied at 56 points. A few minutes later, former West Coast Conference Sixth Man of the Year, Deuce Turner, lets a three fly to retake the lead. It's 59-58 Stags, but Monroe, under pressure, takes over. He had a few rebounds and layups to seal the game. Quinnipiac rebounds, they get in the win column. A gritty win, 72-65. Quinnipiac, your finals. One of the most underrated performances in the win against Fairfield came from Bobcats big man Spence Wayway. Q30's Beckett Calkins dove into how he's handled a season of personal ups and downs.
Spence Wayway isn't your typical college basketball player. He doesn't have the experience that a lot of D1 hoopers do. Experience didn't matter on Sunday at Fairfield.
He doesn't know what he's doing yet, guys. He's so young and didn't start playing ball till he was a little bit older, and he's such a pleasant kid, and he's smart as a whip.
Wayway started playing basketball just 4 years ago. Despite that, he has started all but one game for QU this year as a sophomore. He says this season has been one of many ups and downs.
It's been a tough season. Obviously, I've got a great support system around me. Just trying to learn every day. I've got people always there to let me know how to improve, and a group of people that I think really care about me.
Like Pecora, Amari Monroe is one of those people that care about Wayway, and he sees the work that Spence puts in when no one is watching.
He takes a lot of heat, and he handles it better than anyone I know. You can yell at him, he doesn't sulk, he doesn't yell back, he doesn't complain. He just takes it, learns from it, and gets better.
Sometimes the best form of love is tough love, and while Wayway has certainly gotten his fair share of that, his head coach recognizes the big man's potential.
He's a big live body, and he's going to just keep getting better and better until he has a game like this and someone watches it on TV and they're offering him $300,000 next year, and he's got to go somewhere else.
For now, Wayway is just happy with his team's performance versus the Stags, a huge game that snapped a 2-game losing streak for QU.
It always feels great to be a part of the team, being able to help the team win. That was the most important thing for me, and I was happy I was able to help them do that today.
Wayway's development on the court will continue on Thursday against Canisius. For Q30 Sports, I'm Beckett Calkins.
Thanks, Beckett. The men's basketball team defeated Fairfield 72-65 yesterday. So after the win, let's take a look at the standings in the MAC. The Bobcats now sit in 5th place, now 8-5 in conference, as they are now 1 game back from Marist and a game and a half behind both St. Peter's and Siena, as Merrimack remains at the top spot. Quinnipiac will play Siena on Friday, February 13th in what is looking like a game with massive playoff implications. This past weekend, Quinnipiac men's ice hockey went up to North Country to take on St. Lawrence and Clarkson. Here's beat reporter Nick Olson to talk about how they did.
Thanks, Matt. The Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team had a 1-0-1 weekend with a 7-0 win over St. Lawrence and a 3-3 tie with Clarkson. Clarkson would take the extra point in the shootout. On Friday night, it was an offensive explosion for the Bobcats. Both Andon Cerbone and Chris Pelosi found the back of the net twice. While Pelosi had a 4.9, his career high, and would claim the team lead in goals with his 16th of the year before Marcus Fidicek also potted his 16th goal of the year in this matchup. Both sit tied for 9th in the NCAA in goals this season. Another career milestone for the Bobcats as first-year defenseman Logan McCutcheon tallied his first career point and assist. Head coach Rand Pecknold would give the start to Matej Marinov, marking the first time he has started back-to-back games since December 6th at Union. Marinov stopped all 23 shots he faced on Friday night. The win marked the 4th straight win over St. Lawrence and the Quinnipiac's 7th straight ECAC win. Moving into Saturday, the Bobcats didn't quite find the back of the net like they did on Friday. Quinnipiac led up the early goal to Clarkson, but had their foot on the gas as they went up 3-1 after Aaron Schwartz and Ethan Wittenbach found the back of the net in the second period. Clarkson would make it a 3-2 game before the third. Heading into this matchup, the Bobcats were 18-1-1 when leading after 2 frames, but a late goal from Jace Letourneau would tie this game up. It would eventually end in a tie, and Clarkson would get the extra point in the shootout. Ethan Wittenbach continued his impressive rookie campaign with a 3-point night. He now sits alone at the top of the NCAA for most points this season with 41. He also sits 18 points behind Colin Graff for the all-time single-season points record set in 2023 with 59 points. The Bobcats will return home on Friday as they host Brown, then host Yale in the Battle of Whitney Avenue, looking to avenge their loss from November. That's all the time I have here today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Nick. The new NPI poll is out for the men's ice hockey team, and the Bobcats moved from 8 last week to 9 this week. Minnesota Duluth pops up into number 8, while ECAC hockey foes Cornell and Dartmouth see some movement. The Big Reds sit at number 7, and the Big Green sit at number 10, both moving up 2 spots since last week's placement. The top 3 stay with the same, with Michigan at 1, Michigan State at 2, and North Dakota at 3.
The weekend Quinnipiac students look forward to the most is finally here. The men's ice hockey team is playing the Yale game on Saturday night. Q30's Ava Heaton joins us live to give some insight into what to expect this weekend.
Thanks, Ben. The Battle of Whitney Avenue has been one of ECAC hockey's biggest rivalries since Quinnipiac joined the conference in 2006. The name stems from the fact that the two campuses are separated by a roughly 20-minute drive on Whitney Avenue. But the rivalry itself is a bit lopsided. Quinnipiac has dominated overall, posting a plus 85 goal differential, 35 wins to Yale's 8, and a 7-1 postseason record. Though that one loss coming in April of 2013 was a pretty big one. The teams faced off in Pittsburgh for the 2013 national championship game, and Yale got that win 4-0. That season, the Bulldogs were the last team considered for an at-large position in the bracket, and their Cinderella run took them all the way, despite the Bobcats going 3-0 against them that season. 2 wins in the regular season and 1 in the ECAC hockey playoffs. Speaking of losses, the Bobcats' last 5 losses to the Bulldogs span all the way back to 2010, almost 16 years ago. The team's most recent loss actually came earlier this season at Ingles Rink by a score of 4-2, the Bobcats' first loss to the Bulldogs since 2018. Now, Quinnipiac has a chance for revenge this upcoming weekend for M&T Bank Arena's annual Beat Yale game. The Bobcats are 3-1-2 against the Bulldogs when losing the previous matchup against them, but if Quinnipiac loses this weekend, it will be the first time the team falls to Yale on home ice since 2011. Some keys to this matchup will be each team's leading point scorers. Quinnipiac first-year forward Ethan Wittenbach has taken the nation by storm, leading the NCAA in points with 41, all as a first-year. Yale's leading point scorer forward Ronan O'Donnell has notched 10 goals and 8 assists in 20 games, placing him atop the Bulldog stat sheet. The Bobcats' goalie situation is still up in the air as both Matej Marinov and Dylan Silverstein have been incredibly reliable this season. Marinov has played in 19 games so far, recording a .901 save percentage and a goals against average of .231, while Silverstein has played in just 10 games this season with a goals against average of .175, rocking a .920 save percentage. In the crease for Yale, expect to see Noah Pack, who played against the Bobcats in the team's previous matchup, stopping 25 of the 27 shots that Quinnipiac threw at him. But him and Jack Stark have been running a 2-man rotation in net throughout the last 2 weekends. Pack normally gets day 1 and Stark gets day 2 of the series, but it's important to note that Pack has been the goalie that head coach Joe Howe has trusted in the team's tougher matchups, as the sophomore netminder has been put in against ranked UConn and Cornell. If the Bobcats want to avoid a season sweep from the Bulldogs for the first time since the 2010-2011 season, they need to rely on their strong first-year class and whichever goaltender ends up starting in net. That's all the time I have previewing this matchup. Ben and Matt, back to you guys at the desk.
Great stuff, Ava. Unfortunately, I didn't get a ticket for the Yale game, so I'll be tuning in from home. And just like that, it's time for the last break of the night. Just 1 week from today, the acrobatics and tumbling season will kick off on the mats. See where they fell in this year's preseason coaches poll.
And it's time for the best part of the show, Top 5 Plays of the Week. I know there's been a lot of basketball games, Ben. I can't wait to see which plays made Top 5.
Guys, we had to make a commercial for #that right now. What do?
How long do we have? We only had 2 months to do this.
We could explain that it's a pop culture news show that covers everything from movies, music, and video games.
Yeah, and we can also talk about how there's pre-recorded segments that vary from reviews to in-depth discussions.
We should also mention that it broadcasts live every Monday at 7 p.m. on q30tv.com/watch.
I think that covers everything. Did you guys get that down?
Meet the Scam,
a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
As a dad, every day is a challenge. To make sure that the time that I have, I spend with them. It doesn't matter how tired you are, you have to try and to teach them. When they learn something new, and you can just see in their faces, it's such an incredible moment. It's those moments that are my favorite.
Gracie and Pedro might not get along so well.
They're standing on my tail.
But there's one thing they agree on. There's a right seat for everyone.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
Whether you're a dog,
Hold on, Pooch.
a cat, a fish, or a rat.
And I'm a ferret.
Be sure to travel safe.
How can you be so sure? I'm absolutely positive.
On your next adventure, make sure your children are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right seat.
Well, outdoor track and field had a match this week at Boston University for their event this weekend, and it was Naisa Daly who scored top 10 with 7.45 seconds. Kira Baxter in the 200 had just under 25 seconds. Izzy Anzaldo hit 55.55 seconds in the 400, and 4 different Bobcats recorded top 10 performances.
Tennis season is back. The reigning MAC champion women's tennis team took on New Jersey Institute of Technology on Saturday in its 3rd matchup of the season. The Bobcats fell to the Highlanders 4-3. Caroline Schulzen and Vera Secarina both won their matchups. For doubles, the duo of Willow Renton and Anaga Shankar and Caroline Schulzen and Isabella Cinciano both won their matches. The loss gives Quinnipiac an 0-3 start to the season. Up next, the Bobcats look for their first win of the season against Bryant on Saturday.
Last night, Quinnipiac men's tennis dropped their match to Monmouth 5-2. Elias Hawkshaw was a lone singles winner for the Bobcats. He pulled off a comeback win, dropping the first set. He then won the second in tiebreak and then won the 10-point tiebreak to bring home the win. Doubles team Carlos Broncimo and Alexandro Siaka won their set 6-2. Well, the women's lacrosse season is less than 1 month away, so let's take a look at the MAC preseason poll for the team. The projections have Quinnipiac sneak into the final playoff spot at number 6, while Fairfield, the defending MAC champions, take number 1.
2 Bobcats were also named to the preseason all-conference team. Senior Mia Delmont and defending rookie and goalkeeper of the year Shannon Alden both received all-conference nods. Delmont led QU in scoring last season with 59 points. Alden was locked down in net. She led the MAC in saves per game, averaging over 9 saves a game. She also was ranked top 25 nationally in saves per game, total saves, and save percentage. Quinnipiac opens their season against Hofstra at noon on Valentine's Day. Matt, there's absolutely no debate. We have the top 2 haircuts on campus. Got to give our guy John some love.
Absolutely, Ben. Shout out Valley Barbershop from back home. But you know what else is top tier?
Tell me.
The top 5 plays of the week. Let's get into it.
Let's start off on the hardwood. Carson Martin went 3 for 4 against Fairfield, including this step-back 3. Quinnipiac taking this game 72-58.
Bobcats took it back to Lender Court for play number 4. Jackie Grisdale, sidestep 3, buzzing beater shot. Let's take another look at that. What a shot by Jackie.
Now, we got to get a little bit of ice time in this. Ethan Wittenbach with a nice stretch pass all the way down to Chris Pelosi to extend Quinnipiac's lead. Bobcats win this game 7-0.
Back to the court for play 2. Grant Randall looking for the dagger against Fairfield. He misses. Amari Monroe picks it up, lays it in for the Bobcats.
I'm cool with more hoops at play number 1. Keith McKnight gets the big block, sends it the other way, and James Zimmerman finishes off this play with a big slam. Quinnipiac beating Fairfield to rebound this weekend.
Well, that is going to do it for this week's episode of Sports Paws. We would like to thank all of the producers and people working hard behind the scenes that make this show possible.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram and X at Q30 Television to stay up to date on all of our events. Alongside Matt Flaherty, I'm Ben Rickevicius. Stay warm, Bobcats.